Bob's turnaround at school.
Once upon a time, in a quiet town, lived a boy named Bob. He was 12 years old and loved playing video games a lot. School, however, was a different story. Bob's report card was always full of disappointing grades. His lack of concentration in class was notorious, and instead of diving into textbooks, he preferred navigating virtual worlds. His teachers were worried about his future, and a somber meeting with his mother was inevitable. One gloomy afternoon, Bob's teacher, Mrs. Johnson, called his mother, Susan, to discuss his academic struggles. Mrs. Johnson explained, "Bob's lack of focus in class is a major concern. He seems more interested in gaming than learning." Susan listened with a heavy heart. She knew her son was bright, but his penchant for procrastination and reluctance to study were undeniable. Bob's afternoons were consumed by joystick battles and binge-watching series, leaving little room for textbooks. He never studied. Mrs. Johnson's voice grew solemn as she continued, "If Bob doesn't improve his grades, he might not pass any of his subjects this term." Susan felt a wave of despair wash over her. She wanted the best for Bob, but his disinterest in school seemed insurmountable. She pondered how to inspire him to embrace learning with the same enthusiasm he reserved for his games. That evening, Susan sat down with Bob for a heart-to-heart. She gently reminded him that education was his ticket to a brighter future. "Bob," she said, "I know studying isn't as exciting as gaming, but it's crucial for your growth. Let's find a way to make learning more enjoyable together." From that day on, Susan and Bob embarked on a journey to strike a balance between leisure and learning. They explored new study techniques, set achievable goals, and turned homework time into a fun challenge. Slowly but surely, Bob's grades began to improve. With encouragement and perseverance, he discovered that learning could be an adventure of its own. Although video games still held a special place in his heart, they no longer overshadowed the importance of his education. As days turned into weeks, Bob and his mother, Susan, created a new routine. They transformed the dining table into a cozy study corner, complete with colorful markers, engaging textbooks, and a sprinkle of encouragement. Bob was surprised to find that studying could be enjoyable. With Susan's support, he tackled subjects like a brave explorer on a quest for knowledge. Mrs. Johnson noticed the change too, and her face lit up with pride as she saw Bob's progress. One sunny afternoon, Bob approached his mother with a bright smile, holding a report card that told a different story. His grades had improved significantly, and Mrs. Johnson's predictions of failure now seemed like a distant memory. Susan couldn't contain her joy. She gave Bob a warm hug and said, "You did it, Bob. I'm so proud of you." Bob beamed with pride. He had discovered a newfound love for learning, and his once dismal school journey was now filled with promise. Over time, Bob's dedication paid off. With each passing term, his grades continued to soar. He found a sense of accomplishment in every test aced and every project completed. His passion for video games hadn't waned, but now, it was complemented by a newfound appreciation for education. Bob's story became an inspiration to those around him. His classmates, too, began to see the magic that could happen when determination met opportunity. Everybody was inspired by his determination. All of a sudden, he was the bright kid in class. Both his teacher and his mother were really proud of him. He became a dedicated and determined student who studied hard whatever subject he had to study.
Thank you for listening to English Audio Lounge. We hope you have enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more audio stories to improve your listening.